So I posted a video about why narcissistic people tend to struggle to hold jobs, and a lot of people seemed a little disgruntled about that because there are a lot of narcissistic people in higher up positions. So let's talk about that side of things and why narcissistic people tend to be really successful sometimes. Friendly reminder that just because something doesn't align with your experience doesn't mean that it's not prevalent and doesn't exist. There are a lot of narcissists who really struggle to hold jobs. Of course, some of the most successful people in the world are going to be narcissists. So it would make sense in your reality, if that's what you're perceiving, for that to be what you think all narcissists do. But that also doesn't mean that all of them are non-successful either. It can go either way. When we think in absolutes, we are closing our mind. Don't think in absolutes. Just a word of advice. Just use that in your life. It'll get you further than thinking in absolutes, I promise. So narcissists can be really successful in their careers. Why could that be? Grandiosity. The same way that they underestimate the amount of work that they're going to need to do to be successful, and a lot of times they fail, the exact opposite is true as well. They underestimate how much work they need to do, and they oversimplify it to the point of like making it freaking work. And honestly, good for them, maybe? I'm not sure. Another reason is they assume that they are the authoritative position. And a lot of times people in the workplace just gravitate towards who thinks they're the authority because they are trying to keep the peace and just get paid. And so the authoritative position is, well, a lot of times the one that steps into the next role. A flaw in our system is that statistically, people that speak up the most in meetings are the most likely to be considered leaders. It doesn't matter if what they're saying is BS or not. A lot of the time, people tend to be considered leaders if they just talk a lot, this makes me so mad. And that's why some of the most successful people you see on this app are like narcissists because they just run their mouths. Have you ever seen a dude with a microphone? Okay. I feel like we should run a statistic test on guys who have podcasts and how many of them are diagnosed narcissists. I just feel like there would be a correlation, but that's a personal opinion. Narcissists tend to have a somewhat positive self-image, even though underneath the surface, they don't. But on the surface, they convince themselves that they do. And what you believe about yourself a lot of times will manifest. I highly believe in the law of assumption. What you assume to be true a lot of times will end up being true. They have an innate ability to study patterns because unfortunately, even though they have this fake like confidence, they don't really have a sense of who they really are. Like they don't know who they are. So they study and study and study people a lot. And a lot of them know a lot about psychology, which is very scary. Even if they don't know the exact words for psychological things, they study humans' behavior just by analyzing them very closely and know how to talk to people, and they know how to get what they want. So a lot of times these people are hustlers, and they go on and they make business decisions and negotiate with people and know how to kind of persuade people into what it is that they want, whether that's the next position or a raise or the big promise of the next step. They tend to find things to be a game, so they focus a lot more on the game of things, like how can I use this to boost my ego? And so boosting their ego is literally their life priority. So the workplace is a very easy place to work their way into things if they manipulate correctly. And because they study people's behavior and know what to say, they know when to say the right things in front of groups as well. If you have ever had a conversation with a diagnosed narcissist or someone that you just probably think is a narcissist, you'll notice that a lot of times when they're speaking to you, it seems like they're giving a speech, like they're speaking to an audience, as if like 100 people or 1,000 people are in front of them, and they're like, the reason we are here in this life is to do this, and the way that I feel like we can do this is through this small step, and that's how this relates to the overall picture of what we're trying to do. And it's like, whoa, can we just like talk like we're humans? I mean, I don't know. I'm not here to judge. I'm just telling you why that they are successful sometimes. Again, stop thinking so narrow-mindedly and thinking that all narcissists are unsuccessful or all narcissists are successful. Like when I get comments like, oh, you're so wrong, it's like, well, both of us can be right. So